Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. As spring is officially in the air, I thought it was time to talk through some of the books that I really want to get read this spring. Some of them are just like for the vibes. I feel like there's a few like, I was gonna say floral books. Is that a genre? I'm not sure. Just, I don't know, books that just scream spring to me. Books that I just feel like I actually seriously need to read now, because I still haven't read them and I'm just like, right, we're doing it. Like, we are reading these books. I don't know how many I've got here. I've got 9 books here to talk you through, and yeah, let's get to it. First one is more of a series and I've started it already, so taken off at spring TBR already, and that is the extremely highly esteemed Throne of Glass. I've read it with Assassin's Blade first. Please don't come for me. I mean, it's so controversial. I feel like there are so many different opinions on how you should correctly read this series. I bought the box set, or my boyfriend did. Assassin's Blade came first in the order, and I thought, well, if the box set says Assassin's Blade is first, then we're reading the Assassin's Blade first. And like, I'm about halfway through Throne of Glass, following on from the Assassin's Blade, and I'm kind of glad I read it first. I don't really have any issues with that at the moment. Obviously, yeah, some people say you should read it, I think, after Crown of Midnight or after Heir of Fire, I don't know, but I read it first, I'm glad I did. So yeah, I definitely don't think I'm going to finish this series before the end of spring, because I do quite like to break up big series, especially if I'm enjoying it. Like, the urge to binge it is real, but I kind of want to make it last because, you know, I'm having such a great time with it. I don't want it to be over that quickly and then that's it. So, but yeah, I've already made a good start on this series so far, so well done me for that. Then the next one, I think I might be the only person in the entire world to not have read this book. Very late to the party, but I really, really want to read Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin, because I just can't believe I haven't yet. It's been sat on my shelf for months because I got so excited when I saw it finally come out in paperback, and I was like, oh, okay, let's buy it. It's going to be a bit cheaper and we'll see how we go. It's still been sat on there for a very long time and I have not read it yet. It intimidates me, if I'm honest. Like, it does, it intimidates me. I feel like I will definitely enjoy the storyline from what I can gather. I don't know a lot about this book. Obviously, I've heard like the whole video game vibe going around, and I love a good video game, so I feel like just the plot alone interests me. But from what I've heard, like, the writing is beautiful, the friendships and the relationships in this book are beautiful, and it's a bit of a, not a life-changing book, maybe a life-changing book, but just a book that gets you thinking, that just makes you feel something. So I'm literally forcing myself to read this within the next few months, because I just need to put my big girl pants on and just get on with it. So same kind of goes for the next book, because I am so excited to read this after seeing so many amazing reviews. But again, for some reason, I just haven't got around to it. I don't feel like I'm putting it off, because I am like so eager to get into it, but I just haven't picked it up yet, and I don't know why. But that's Powerless by Lauren Roberts. I bought this recently in my book haul, and I knew before I even walked into the shop that this was going to be coming out with me, because yeah, I've been meaning to read this for months, and it just sounds like such a fun, easy read, but still with like so much going on in the plot. It seems very high stakes, but there's a lot of banter and just like a really interesting, engaging concept. So if you've read this, let me know how you feel. I'm actually very glad, like, I haven't had any spoilers, but I do know, and I didn't know this originally, that there is no spice in this book. I think it is meant to be more of a YA fantasy. I'm so glad that I know that going into this, because would I have been slightly disappointed? I don't know, maybe. I mean, from what I've heard, I reckon all of the other bits would have made up for it. But if you haven't read this book and you want to go into it, and you know, obviously, like, it's a fantasy genre, just know that from what I know before reading it, there's no spice in this. But I'm quite excited. I think that's going to be really refreshing, because so many of the fantasy books that I've read recently have always had spice in them. And while I do enjoy that, especially if I'm like really rooting for the characters, I think it'll be nice just to take a break from that. So, plus, isn't the cover just giving spring? Like, look at those gorgeous purpley flowers. And from what I can understand, Reckless is coming out really soon, which is the second book in this series. So I need to get on it purely so that I can be ready to start that when it comes out. Oh, let's stack my spines here so you can see them. Pretty. The next book I am pathetically excited to read. And I have been, like, this is probably the most anticipated book on my list, because It just sounds like everything I will adore and more. And I finally bought a copy last weekend, and I'm being so dramatic. Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This is just everything. I feel like this is just encaptures me. Like, it's fantasy, but it's cozy, it's low stakes. It's just like pottering about, documenting fairies and creatures, and like, just look, like, again at the cover. I mean, it's just the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. This is literally giving Pokemon Snap vibes. If you've ever played Pokemon Snap, or you just know what it is, and it's basically a game on Switch, and you literally just walk around different areas and take pictures of Pokemon and like document it in your little like, yeah, encyclopedia type thing. And this is exactly what this is giving me, and I have the best time when I'm playing Pokemon Snap and just like dilly-dallying about. So that is how I just know, because the Map of the Otherlands just recently came out, which is the second book in this series. So immediately I was like, okay, this is the time I finally need to get into this book. But I've always wanted to read this ever since I heard about it. I think I heard about it first from Rachel Catherine some point last year. And yeah, it's taken me this long to pick it up, but now I have. And this is 100% getting read in the month of March. So there's just no way that I can't pick this up as quick as possible. Yeah. Then the next book I'm borrowing from my local library. It is a classic that I've wanted to read for such a long time. One, because I have heard about it like in out of context situations, like it's mentioned on Friends, I've just people that I follow, I've spoken about it, and it just seems like a very poignant novel to read. And there's a film that came out quite a few years ago now that I've always wanted to watch and never have, because I told myself I will watch it once I've read the book. And had I read the book? No. Little Women by Louisa May Alcott. I know nothing about this book. I haven't even read the blurb. I just want to kind of go in blind, go along for the ride, and hopefully really enjoy myself. Oh my goodness, okay. I was looking at it and I was like, it's quite a small book, and I think this is, yeah, about 200, just shy of 250 pages maybe. And I was like, oh, hopefully it won't actually take me that long to read. The writing is so tiny. But yeah, that's gonna be like a job anyway. But yeah, I've been dying to take this off of my TBR for a long time. And like I say, I know it's bad because I should obviously want to enjoy the book, but reading and finishing this book just means I get to watch the film, and the film just gives all the vibes, purely because I love Emma Watson and Florence Pugh. But you know, can't wait, I'm so excited. The next book is another book that's been so popular for so long that I still haven't got around to. It's the first book in a series, and that is Twisted Love. But I also feel like I want to read this in spring because, and this sounds really weird, but the covers are so like pastel, and I love that. It's like, this is giving spring, like this beautiful baby blue cover. Yeah, it's a series that obviously I feel like everyone's heard about. It's been everywhere for so long. It's a romance series. I think they're interconnected standalones. I think they follow different couples. I don't really know. Most of these books, I'm going in pretty blind. They're just giving me a vibe. Or I've heard like one little thing that I'm just like, oh yeah, that sounds like it'll intrigue me. But most of this is just enjoying the covers, enjoying the vibes it's emitting, and just going in blind and hoping that I'm going to have a good time. And that's pretty much exactly what I'm doing here. Obviously it's a romance, so you kind of expect a little something. You kind of know what to expect when you're reading this. But yeah, this is the first one in the interconnected standalone series. I think this tends to be a lot of people's least favourites, so I'm going to try and go into this with not many expectations. And even if it's just like a good time, like, oh, it was fine, I probably will continue the series because I've heard a couple of the other books are a lot more exciting. This just had to be my spring TBR, like I say, because of the just gorgeous pastel colours on the cover. But yeah. The next book is Vibes Only. This is another book I'm actually crazy excited to read, and I don't ever see it that much online, but I saw the cover one day in the works and I was just like instantly drawn to it. And then I had a sneak peek at kind of what it was about, and it just sounds like everything I would be obsessed with, which is the Dangerous Damsels series. This is the second book in the series, I believe. I didn't realise this. A lovely viewer let me know in the comments on my book haul video that this is actually the second book, and there is another book before this. So thank you so much for letting me know, because I literally had no idea, and I would have been soul destroyed if I read this first, even though most of the time in a standalone series it literally doesn't matter, but it just hurts me. So I do need to buy the first book, which is called The Wisteria Society of Lady Scoundrels. Is the first book. Really pretty floral, another like pastel blue colour. So I am going to probably get that off Amazon and read that first. So I might not even read this particular book this spring, but I do want to start the series this spring. It's by India Holton. Hadn't heard of her before either until I saw this series, but from the little bits and bobs I have seen on Bookstagram and stuff, people seem to really enjoy it, and it's literally giving magical Bridgerton Regency vibes. I'm here for that. This cover is one of the most beautiful covers I think I've ever seen. It's giving, like, if that's not giving you spring, then I don't know what will. And then the last two books are library holds, so I will hopefully get to these very soon, because I always get a fear that I'm not going to be able to renew it, and then I've missed my chance until God knows when, especially with the next book that I'm about to show you, because I feel like these are so popular, and that is In the Weeds by B.K. Borison. I read Love Like Farms around Christmas time, so if you don't know, this series has 4 books, or the 4th one is coming out soon. And basically the author herself has said that each book kind of represents a season. So Love Like Farms is winter, it's set at a Christmas tree farm. And this one is meant to be the spring one. So obviously, yeah, In the Weeds. The cover is giving spring. I'm loving all those flowers. They do seem to have like the prettiest covers, these books, to be fair. But when I read Love Like Farms, I was kind of underwhelmed. Like, it was okay, I didn't hate it. I think I gave it 3 stars, but I only read that book like 2 months ago, just over 2 months ago, and I've like forgotten everything. I couldn't really tell you anything about it. It just didn't really stand out to me, but it was still a fun time, and I'm still interested in this author's work, so I thought I would definitely give In the Weeds a try. It seems in quite good condition. I don't think the library's had it for too long. I feel very lucky to have a copy, but I think I'm going to try and read this ASAP because it's so new, and that this author's work is so popular. I feel like it's going to get reserved very quickly by other people, so I need to get a wriggle on. But I know nothing about this book. Again, going in blind, gonna keep saying it. From the back, it says a grumpy farmer and a no-nonsense social media influencer. So it sounds pretty interesting. I think the first book also revolved a bit around like social media influencing. So I don't know if that's a theme in most of these books. I don't actually know, but hopefully we're gonna have a good time with this one. And the last book is actually very random. I've never seen it anywhere. It was my blind date with a book in February. It is now almost mid-March, and yes, I still haven't read it, but it's got very pretty spring colours on the front, so, but I have already had to renew this because I'd had it for 3 weeks and still hadn't read it yet. So I need to really prioritise these library books in the fear that they're going to be taken away from me. But that is True Love at the Lonely Hearts Bookshop by Annie Darling. Never heard of this author before either, but this is such a pretty book. It looks lovely in the light, like the pink foiling really pops, and it's got this lovely metallic like spine as well. So it's such a pretty book, and it just sounds like such a fun, cozy time. It's basically about a bookworm female main character, and she's kind of just happy in a little bookish bubble, but she has to basically like fake date for reasons I don't know, and apparently there's a lot of like summery weddings and garden parties and like birthdays, and it just, I don't know, it just sounds like a great book for spring to get you excited for the summer. So yeah, I think I'm gonna have a good time with this, and I really hope I enjoy it, and then I can sort of shed a bit of light on it, because I've never seen this anywhere, and hopefully I can give it the love that it deserves. But we'll see. We're yet to see how I feel about this book, but I will be reading this very soon, so keep your eyes peeled. And that's my spring TBR. Hope that you enjoyed this video, maybe found some books that you'd forgotten about or that interested you, you hadn't heard of before, that maybe you're going to add to your spring TBR. Let me know in the comments what you're going to be reading this month or what you're reading right now. I would love to get some more book recs or just chat to some of you lovely people in the comments. Like, comment and subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I will see you very soon in the next one. Bye everyone.